their epitome of their defense has been stopping the run. They've been one of the better run stopping defenses in the country so far this year, and it has not been the same for Rutgers, and that's going to be the biggest challenge or the biggest, I would say, objective for this Rutgers defense, being able to shut down this running game. We're not asking them to give up. If they're able to contain Iowa to, I would say, 130 yards on the ground, or I would say 120 yards on the ground, they have a really good chance of winning this game. But it's really going to come down to which offense is able to, for the most part, have a lot of consistency. Because when it comes to Iowa, a lot of the time, they like to be in defensive slugfights. And for Rutgers, I would say, their biggest advantage so far this year has been the fact that they're able to score the football. They're able to score points at a very high rate.
Yeah, and another thing that kind of not triggers it sort of triggers a red flag in a way to me is you look at Iowa and their entire defense outside of strong safety Cohen Entringer and right cornerback Deshaun Lee is all seniors, and it's all redshirt seniors too, except for Aaron Graves and TJ Hall. So they have a lot of and Zach Lutmer is a redshirt sophomore. They have a lot of experience on that defense, and our offense. It's in terms of experience. We don't know the status for CJ Campbell. He had a nasty injury in the first half, and we don't know if he'll be back. But Jashawn Benjamin did step up. But our offense, outside of the offensive line in Athan, is a bunch of underclassmen, and DT Sheffield, too, senior. So they're going to play schemes that these guys are familiar with. And I think our offense is going to face some adversity for the first time. And we're going to see if they can overcome it. I expect the first half for us to be trailing, maybe 17-10, maybe 10-3, 10-7. I expect us to trail at some point in this game, but I do believe we can pull off the comeback victory.
I don't see a Rutgers trailing the first half. I honestly see it as if they do trail, the game's going to be very low scoring. I would say in the first half it might be 7-3 if they are trailing, or for the most part, I can really see them going into half with it being 7-3 Rutgers, 7-10 Rutgers, 7-10 Iowa, or 3-0 Iowa. Because just by how I would say. Spacious points are going to be coming by for both teams, and I know in regards to Iowa, their defense is very, I would say, experienced, more on the older side of things, but Rutgers do have some, I would say, some experienced guys in their roster. DT Sheffield being a senior quarterback, Ethan Killicomanis being a senior as well, and those are going to be the guys that have to take charge and be able to be that voice for the team and be able to keep everybody on the same mindset throughout that game, especially against Iowa, because those two know how big these Big Ten matchups are, especially when you're able to take one of these games at home, because you have the highest advantage of all when it comes to these games at home, because you're able to possibly go 1-0 before you have to go on the road 2 times in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it's very 50-50. This is definitely, in my opinion, going to be not just the most important game of the year, at least up to this point, 100%. But
I feel like it's going to be the most important so far.
Yeah.
Up to because this game is going to really set the tone for what Minnesota is going to be, because Minnesota is going to be another challenge for this team, especially it's going to be another litmus test, I would say. Like Iowa and the Minnesota game are going to be 2 litmus test type of games for this Rutgers team to see if we're just exceeding expectations because they're playing lower competition, or if this team is something to keep an eye on for the rest of the year, because they still got to play Oregon. They still have to play Ohio State on the road, and they finish off with Penn State at home. 3 big teams that are going to most likely make it to the college football playoffs. So seeing if they can be able to take advantage against teams that are in that middle tier, B tier, like a Minnesota or an Iowa, that's most likely going to be 2 8-9 win teams once everything is said and done. Because we already know Washington is not going to be in the equation come late October, early November. They're one of the weaker teams in the Big Ten as it is, and
We have a
that's
crazy home field advantage, though.
yeah.
Like,
But outside of that, I really don't see Rutgers having a challenge against
you don't
this
think so?
Washington team. Nah, not really,
Really?
honestly.
See,
Because
to
then
me and Adam, that's kind of a hot take because we've been saying that that's going to be another test just because of that environment. We don't have too many West Coast games, and historically, when we do, we tend to lose them. I know this is a different team. First off, because it's a past first team, and we've never seen that from Rutgers. But like we've all the games we've had so far this year, they've all been home, and they've all been against non-conference teams.
I feel like the test is going to come Iowa, Minnesota, and once those two games go past, I can see Purdue being one of those trap games. Things are going well so far, but the big, I would say, exclamation points on the schedule in regards to these are games that are going to determine not only Big Ten seeding at the end of the day, but possible college football playoffs if they're able to make some shock the world. It's primarily that Oregon game, that Illinois game on the road. That's really the bigger game on the road that I've been looking at throughout this entire schedule, even though you are right in regards to Rutgers not really having a good showing in regards to West Coast games. But
Yeah,
Washington, Maryland, Purdue, those are games that Rutgers should be able to have the edge in, even though
Maryland's
Maryland has been a good team so far this year. But that's really going to be down the road in regards to possibly that's more of a week 11 type of game.
yeah,
But
yeah.
right
And
now the focus is Iowa, and that's really going to set the tone for these games coming down the line because this once this game against Iowa is done, they're going to run the gauntlet a little bit.
yeah, I mean, look, it's kind of funny because in terms of grand scheme of things, and not to get too political, but I kind of see this slate of games this year. If you're looking at it from like the 2024 election, funny enough, this the swing games this year are similar to that swing state kind of feel, where like you see Iowa, you see Illinois, you see Minnesota, you see Maryland,
It
you
can
see
go either
Washington,
way.
and it can go either way. And so there's a chance we win all of them, and there's a chance that it's the whatever the red whatever they called it. There's a chance you lose all of them if
I
you're
could really see the most likely reality of them winning three of those games or splitting it. If
yeah.
they're able to win all four, that's going to be
I mean,
major in terms of
yeah,
possible seeding in regards to a potential Big Ten championship because that's four major Big Ten wins right there before they even faced off against those other Big Four teams. Because Illinois looks like a potential top 12 team this year.
yeah,
They have been really good so far throughout this earlier stretch of the year, and it looks like that's going to keep going. So, if Rutgers wants to butt out of the pack and be able to say, "Hey, we should be in those types of conversations with the Illinois that isn't the cream of the crop of the Big Ten, but they're slowly getting up there and trying to challenge those big time teams in Oregon, Penn State, and Ohio State. Iowa is a great way to start off that potential. You have to respect what we have going on at Piscataway.
yeah. And you know, do you think that there are playoff hopes for us? I believe that that's what we have to be shooting for, right? If you're 3-0 and it's a new year, a quarterback dominant offense, I think that in everyone's head you have to say we should, like, everyone needs to say this could be a playoff team.
I feel like that's what's been growing more and more within the locker room, especially being able to get a lot of guys that saw major amounts of winning in the off season through transfer portal. Eric O'Neal being part of a JMU team that was just in the Sun Belt Conference championship game, and they just came off of a bowl game win.
Yeah,
North Texas coming off of a bowl game win with DT Sheffield. This Rutgers team is showing off a lot of guys that are now in their offense that performed majorly in their bowl game win against Kansas State. KJ Dove being one of those
oh,
players. They're looking at this as potentially we're tired of being that 7-5, 8-4 type of team. We have a chance to
yes,
possibly
even eight
become
and
that
four.
10-win team because they've added a lot of big pieces towards that goal.
Yeah,
And I will say, in regards to just the way they started off and just the way that they've been able to show off the success that they have had, they've shown that they're able to stick together and win close games in week one, whether you like it or not. Ohio is outside out of all the group of four teams. This is a really one of those teams that are a really good group of four teams. They were able to beat a D1 FB. They were able to beat a Power Four team in West Virginia just last week before they went up against Ohio State,
yeah,
and they were able, and Rutgers was able to win a close one there. So we're able to see that this team is able to, I would say, win those closer games, those one score games. They're able to finish and win games in the fourth. And
yeah,
then two dominant victories, both of them where they showed a lot of success in the running game and in the passing game. And this defense is starting to be able to create turnovers as well. Elad was able to catch a pick that was just, it
yeah.
looked like a routine fly ball out there. There was nobody in his area to even catch that ball for Norfolk
Yeah.
State.
I mean,
But
that to me was probably more of a Norfolk State error. But if you're Jet, you're happy that you catch those because if you're on defense, you're not training to catch the ball. You're training to swat it down. So anytime you get to catch it successfully,
those are the ones that start to build
yeah.
confidence when you're going up
Especially
one
when
on one
Bo
against a
knows.
receiver and you can think that I can get this ball because I've done it before.
Yeah, if you're Bo knows, then that week 2 interception that could have saved the season hopes because it goes from a close Miami of Ohio game to with Miami of Ohio 13 feet away from taking the 14-13 lead to getting in good field position with that interception, going up 2 scores, and then dominating in the second half. So far, I'm happy with what I've seen, and let's bring our good friend Austin onto the show. Austin, how are you doing, my G?
What's up, fellas? What's up? What's up? Howdy, Donovan. Howdy, Gabe.
Howdy, howdy. It's a pleasure to talk to you, Austin.
I'm excited to talk to you too as well, Donovan. Get your perspective, and of course, always love to hear Gabe's perspective. Even though Adam said Gabe needs some help, we still love him.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why he's out of the show now. I had executive decision.
I see. Okay, well, you and Donovan will make a great pairing. He'll be the new LeBron and D Wade.
Oh, hell yeah. I'll take that.
I was going for more of a Kyrie Luca, but I'm
Kyrie
cool.
Luca, I see you.
Either way, that's a good
Hopefully
compliment.
neither of us get traded in that example.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. If you do, just get traded for first round picks.
I hope so too. Hope so too.
But in all seriousness, though, fellas, big week for Rutgers. You know, playing Iowa, and this was one in the off season that was talked about a lot for both teams because, especially for Rutgers here on this channel, if Rutgers wanted anything of their season, the two biggest games was I even said was Iowa and Washington because you're going to Washington this year instead of them coming to you. The thing with Iowa, they remind me of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the reason why is Iowa seems to win the games that they shouldn't win. Like a lot of people would think, oh, Piscataway on a Friday night, you know, it's going to be a Rutgers victory. And then Kurt Ferentz seems to win these games. And you're just like, how do they do it? And I tell you how they do it. Their defense creates turnovers, fellas. Rutgers cannot turn the football over because it sets the offense up at short field and it allows them to get the touchdowns. And thus, Rutgers can pin their ears back and start blitzing. Excuse me, Iowa. That's my take on that. But what do y'all think?
100%. 100%. That's why the running game for Rutgers has been really effective for them so far because the way that they've been able to run the ball and be able to stay on schedule, it opens up that playbook that Rutgers has a ton. Instead of being in situations where they're going to have to be potentially 2nd and 7 or 2nd and 8 against an Iowa defense that loves to not only blitz heavily, but able to disguise their blitzes at a level that kind of rivals some NFL teams. They have really good defensive coordinators there at Iowa, a lot of former NFL guys as well. So they're able to really hide their pressures and being able to be in situations where you're in short yardage. You don't have to fully worry in regards to if those pressures are going to come or not, because if anything happens, you're able to throw underneath and be able to get a first down at least. So that's why the biggest compliment for Rutgers going into this game against Iowa has been that their running game has been effective so far, and it kind of matches what Iowa has been doing as well with their 2 running back system.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if you are a fan of Rutgers, you should not only attend this game versus Iowa because of how big it is, but I want to show you something else that just dropped from Rutgers football on X. This right here, the blackout is back. So we're not just going to be out there, but we're going to be in unison, looking fresh. And if you want to here, 100% do it. But that is another reason I am excited because of SHI Stadium being the difference between Rutgers, Ohio specifically, and because of how much they showed out and stayed for a 60-10 win and a 28-point win against Miami of Ohio. This crowd is going to be another reason that we have a chance.
Yeah.
What is your take, Austin? I know you gave your take on how the game could go, but do you have a winner for us?
I'm sorry, but I'm picking Iowa to win this game.
You know what? I will say though, when you look at the betting lines, they went from Iowa being a 3.5-point favorite to a 1.5, and from the over/under being 42.5 to now 45.5. So it looks like the odds makers are saying, "Hold on,
this game's going to be more scores.
Let's not disrespect this Rutgers offense. Let's give the offense a chance." So that's my.
I honestly feel like that's like they're saying that for both offenses. Because typically when it comes to Iowa games, that over-under is around 40, most likely 39.
Yeah.
So that means that they see that these both offenses are very potent and that they're able to score with ease. And that's really going to be, like I said at the beginning of the show, that's really going to be the difference. Because I will say on paper, Rutgers defense does have a lot of players that are able to make those type of plays and be able to contain an offense like Iowa. But that's just before we see it on the field. If we're looking at what Rutgers able to bring up to their front seven that they invested heavily throughout the transfer portal last all season, and tuning this Iowa team that's gone up against real offenses in Iowa State, and they were able to keep that game very close. I honestly can see just SHI Stadium being the complete difference maker, and that's why I completely understand why the line is getting shorter and shorter, and I can see it tipping into Rutgers' favor by the time the ball is kicked on Friday.
Yes. And
here's my thing with this. It was really close for me for both. And I want Gabe and you, obviously, Donovan, both to know this. I like Rutgers. I want them to succeed because ever since I found this channel and got to know Gabe and Adam, and of course I'll get to know you a little bit more, Donovan, as the season rolls on, I like Rutgers. They're a nice program, and Coach Shiano, I've always had tremendous respect. But it just feels like to me, Iowa's defense is going to be what the difference is. Kurt Ferentz takes pride in that defense. If nothing else,
he does.
He takes pride in it. He's going to create turnovers. I feel like the thing about Iowa too is they don't do any exotic blitzes. That's the crazy thing. They just get home with the normal 4. They don't throw a 5-6 man at you. They're just pass rushing you, kind of like what the Saints do in the NFL.
Or the Eagles.
They just come at. They just come after you.
Yeah, it's interesting that you compared them to the Steelers, but when you think of a no blitz defense effectively pass rushing in the NFL, you think of the Eagles just because of what they did against the Chiefs. But you bring up an interesting point, and Donovan, he's a Louisville fan too. So it's like there's been some great matchups against us. So you've had some time to get to know us. You've beaten us. You've lost to us both times. There's been blowouts. There's been close games. So I'm excited to face you guys too again. I think it's next year, right?
Yes. Louisville and Rutgers will be playing a home and home. I believe we're going to Piscataway first, and then you're coming to the Ville, which I'm excited for.
SHI is no joke, man. It used to be.
It used to be until Greg completely flipped the program on the right side up again. And I do want to piggyback on what you said, Austin, in regards to how Iowa's defense takes a lot of pride in not only being able to rush the passer, but also to create turnovers. Ethan Kilikimanis has not thrown an interception so far yet through 3 games, and that's a
No
very
fumbles.
big positive. No matter what type of teams he's facing, it's really in today's modernized football, throwing the ball like he has been so far, completing 62 passes throughout 3 games, throwing it at least 35 times a game so far throughout these first 3 games, and none of them have been landing in the landing towards the opposition. That's a really big positive because that just shows that his decision making has been great. His processing of coverages have been great. And
Mm-hmm.
against a team against Iowa that's known for staying in zone, they're not really a man coverage type of team. This is an opportunity for Aiton to show that he's able to read these type of defenses and pick them apart because I will say Iowa's defensive line has showed a lot of prowess, but you can't take out the fact that Rutgers' offensive line has shown the same thing. It's going to be
Yeah,
a big question mark at that left tackle
Mm-hmm.
spot, primarily in the Big Ten, with the left tackle spot facing off against the best edge rushers overall in the country at that. But for the
Mm-hmm.
rest of that offensive line, there's a really big confidence that you have in regards to if I'm Ethan Keller Command is that I'm going to have time in the pocket to be able to somewhat dissect these defenses and let guys that like DT Sheffield who are really good at standing in those open spots of zones, as well as KJ Duff, who's going to be that big body over the middle when they start going into possibly those too high looks or those middle field close type of looks that is going to be able to catch the ball, whether Ethan's in pressure, dealing with pressure, or he's going to have a cleaner pocket. That's why I've been saying so far throughout this entire show, the offense and especially the passing game with these receivers. I know Ian Strong is still not going to be him playing this game on Friday is still to be decided. But the rest of this receiving core, including Ben Black, who showed a lot of potential against Norfolk State last week, being able to score a touchdown as well on a deep shot where he completely beat the corner down the sideline.
yeah,
Rutgers has a lot of weapons that are going to be able to dissect this defense, and they have an offensive line that you can say can put up a really good fight against this Iowa team. So I
yeah.
completely can see why this Iowa's defense is going to get put to the challenge, and I really don't see it being if they do win. It's going to be a very close game. I don't
It will
see
be.
it being
Yeah.
anywhere more than a 4 point victory for either team.
I think it's
And
30-27 because, like, the line is 45 and a half. I still think it's going to be 30-27 because of how good our offense has played. And unfortunately, how poor our rushing defense is. We had against Norfolk State, we still gave up 12 first downs. We still gave up 128 yards rushing on 4.7 yards per attempt and a rushing touchdown. So that
mm-hmm.
scares me because Norfolk State, obviously there's the Michael Vick headline, but they're not even FBS. I believe they're FCS. And so
Mm-hmm.
you look at Norfolk State having a solid offense against us, even though the 10 points don't really show that because of their special teams unit. Uh, but that's what scares me is Iowa is a rushing team. That's what they do best. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think it will be a shootout. I don't think it'll be 45, 46. I think it'll be 30-27. And I can see Iowa winning, but best believe if Jay Patel gets the final kick, he's going to make it.